जहां से हर तरह से उसे हम झुकाएं। ऊंचा रखेंगे सर तेरा हम, मिलके खाते हैं हम ये कसम।
Thank you. You may now be seated. L&T has a rich legacy of over 8 decades. In these 8 decades, if we look at the sheer scale, complexity, and utility of the projects that L&T has done, we have rightly earned the title of Builders to Nation. Next, we will play our corporate video, which will give you a glimpse of our engineering, construction, and manufacturing capabilities.
The future is closer than we think. Using digital technologies, we're implementing futuristic solutions to make quantum improvements across all our businesses, resulting in smart engineering, smart manufacturing, smart project management, smart infrastructure. Our proven global expertise in infotech, as well as technology services, enables us to solve complex business problems at the convergence of the physical and digital worlds, both internally and for major clients across the globe, including a large number of Fortune 500 companies. Disruptive technologies like the Internet of Things are changing the way we live and work. We are leveraging our rich engineering heritage with these new technologies to offer businesses worldwide services that enhance efficiency and productivity. By exploiting analytics for innovation, we are transforming the way these industries operate. Cities are the beating heart of the world's economy. Their speed and scale of expansion presents a choice: megacity turmoil or an inviting urban environment. A smart city. A smart city involves the application of information-based systems for better governance and services. With expertise in both infrastructure and new age technologies, L&T has the edge in implementing India's mission to make 100 cities resident-friendly and sustainable. Every day we help light up hundreds of villages and power businesses and industry. We provide a complete range of solutions for power plants, from concept to commissioning. Our heavy engineering facilities are among the largest and best equipped in the world. They fabricate complex large-size equipment for core industries and provide critical equipment for India's nuclear power plants. We're the only company with the capacity to build an entire nuclear power plant on its own. Nuclear fusion has the potential to replace every other source of energy. Larsen & Toubro is collaborating on a global project to build the world's first thermonuclear reactor in southern France, a potential step towards an abundance of energy that could power the planet for millions of years. Till such time alternative energy sources reach full maturity, hydrocarbons remain the principal source of the world's energy supply. Our presence spans the entire hydrocarbon value chain, from exploration to refining to erecting complete plants. Through products derived from hydrocarbons, we touch your life every day. In a myriad other ways, we are a recurring presence in your life, day after day. Moving you through airports built by us, over bridges, roads and intersections that we have constructed, through state-of-the-art metros that we have built. And as you arrive at your destination, an array of properties await you, built by us to the highest standards. Whether it is the tallest, longest, largest, we at L&T have built it. We apply technology to man's most precious resource, water. Our ability to build a world-class water infrastructure covers all aspects of treatment and conservation, including desalination. Strength is a prerequisite for peace. It has been a mission with us to secure your way of life by helping strengthen the country's defenses. Through intensive investment on research, we developed a system of systems capability, enabling us to build complete weapons platforms, including India's first nuclear submarine, a long-held dream. The Indian Navy looks to us for an entire range of weapon systems, and the land forces for diverse advanced weaponry. Given the trust built over decades of proven performance, we are well positioned to be the leaders in India's defense expansion. We have played our part in India's mission to the moon and its thrust to orbit Mars. For decades, we have made critical aerospace components for the country's space program. Through our technology leadership, we now have the capability to build complete launch systems to place satellites into orbit, opening up limitless possibilities for the future. Technology is pushing from every direction. The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the resolute. It belongs to those who strive, who seek, and do not yield. The future belongs to the brave.
"2020 was a challenging year in many aspects. One such Herculean task was to timely complete our campus recruitment process. I take pleasure In introducing you to the team who successfully shouldered this responsibility, I will now request all our team members to please put on their videos and microphones and introduce yourself to our audience.
So good evening to all young and promising engineers and a hearty welcome to L&T family. My name is Ashish Wadekar, a proud L&Tite, now 12 years with L&T, and I head the campus recruitment for Larsen & Toubro Limited. Over to my teammate Charan.
Thank you, Ashish. Good evening and a warm welcome to all of you. My name is Charan. I head the talent acquisition team and the campus hiring team from the Divisional Corporate. I'm a new entrant to L&T I just joined last year, but I have a total of 22 years of experience in talent acquisitions. Thank you and all the best to all of you. I'll now ask my Sambit to go on and introduce yourself a bit.
Hi everyone. Good evening. I'm Sambit Mohanty. I'm working with the campus recruitment team in L&T for the last 4 years. I also lead the team which handles the campus branding and employer branding. And also specifically the social media pages like LinkedIn and Facebook at campuses. So our Facebook page is L&T Campus Engage. So when you visit the campus L&T Campus Engage Facebook page, you will see the updates on L&T. Thank you, and over to Vishnu.
Yeah, thank you, Sambat. Hello, everybody. A warm welcome to all of you. In fact, to L&T family. Vishnu Prasad is my name, and I have been a part of this wonderful organization for the past 13 years. So that's all about me. I work with the campus team. So over to my colleague, Mr. Arun.
Thank you, Vishnu. Hi all, my name is Arup. I am part of campus hiring team operating out of Chennai. We welcome you all for the L&T's family once again. Thank you, all the best. Over to you, Mr. Mike.
Thank you, team, for a wonderful introduction. I am also a part of this team working with this prestigious organization for past 3 years. I will now request Mr. Ashish Wadekar to set the context for the day.
Thank you, Mayank. And thanks, team, for your wonderful introductions. Guys, you might have heard their names. You might have received emails from this team. Today, you also have a face to the names that are familiar to you. Congratulations to all of you and welcome once again to L&T family. I'll set a brief context and then we'll move ahead for a panel discussion that we have arranged especially for you guys. So if I start with what happened last year, I have a slide and I'll request my colleague Sambit to put the slide. Can you put the slide? Can you put the slide, Sambit? Yeah. So quite an interesting slide that I have over here, and I think it talks a lot about our stories. And when I say our stories means your story and our story in the professional world. Last March, there was a lot of excitement around what will happen, how things will turn out, and there was a pandemic and a lockdown. And I think from your side also, when colleges were closed, you went for online classes, we went for work from home arrangement. Something similar would have happened right from announcement of bracing yourself because online classes and webinars are coming. You might have thought that, oh, I love webinars, but after some time, this is the face I'm sure that everybody would have had as we had with online meetings, and it would have got so extended that you would have had a feeling of sleeping, or even that would have been a cause of your death, not physically, but mentally the concentration would have been less. But all said and done, technology has helped us. We went remote. We were still functioning. And as a lot of things changed on your side in last 1 year, we also changed a lot, including our campus process. And there were two major changes that we made in our campus process. So first, we became one single team within L&T. You might have heard from your seniors or training and placement officers that earlier we used to come as two different teams, L&T Corporate and L&T Construction, but now it's a single team, and you can see the pictures of all teammates who also got introduced. So that was a major change which will continue for future. And second major thing that we did was a Herculean task of completing a voluminous recruitment online in a virtual mode, 100% remote. The special thing was that we maintained our calendar and we thought of going early on campuses, and I'm sure you all will vouch that we were one of the first core company to be on campus. So two major changes that happened in terms of how we did our recruitment. And what was the volume I was talking about? We visited 127 colleges across India. 24,000 plus students appeared for our process. And finally, we have slightly over 1,000 students that we have shortlisted to be a part of this prestigious organization, Larsen & Toubro Limited. And that's why let me congratulate you, because you are the best. Out of 24,000, approximately 4% have made it through this meritocratic process, and you are one of them. And we are eagerly waiting for all of you to come over and be a part of this world called as L&T. And when I say L&T, since last decades, one word which gets attached with us naturally is it's not only about engineering, but it's about imagineering. And what is imagineering? That is the DNA of L&T. And this DNA gets incorporated when engineering gets clubbed with imagination. What it means in terms of business, it means that if a client comes to us with an imagination, we engineer it to the perfection. So that's the world you will be entering into, and that will be one of the proud world that you will get into. And why I say proud, because L&T is into all those things that make us proud of building the tomorrow's India, building tomorrow's future. These are all iconic projects like the Statue of Unity, Mumbai Airport, Delhi Airport, Medigeta Barrage. You can read and you will come to know shortly the scale at which these projects have been operated. Many of them have been record breaking. And so welcome to this world of iconic, prestigious projects. So when you are entering into this world, there will also be some challenges because you are still at your college campus. You are into the mode of transition. I'm sure that your minds have put on the button of transition, thinking of tomorrow that my college will end and I'll start my professional life or I'll start my first career. There would be an expectation that it turns out to be as smooth and as quick as a 100 meters sprint. But in reality, it's going to be a marathon, and not only a marathon career, but something which will come like an hurdle race. So with this challenge, obviously, we thought that let us not get connected with you right now when you come to us in July, but right now when you are still on campus and have an early engagement. So this year, we are launching with a new initiative which we are calling as L&T Grace. And there are a couple of meanings for us in L&T for this word grace. As a word grace, it means somebody who will grace an occasion, and that somebody is very important and critical. And that's what you people mean for us, the young talent, the talent of tomorrow. And when I talk about your perspective into this grace, simply grace stands for get ready for an awesome. And I'm emphasizing that awesome because with the scale and mammoth of projects and technological age we have, you can actually have an awesome career in engineering with us. And even if you see the logo, the G part of the Grace, purposefully we thought that let us design the G part, something that looks like a gear, and all of you are engineers. This symbol for us is a symbol of engagement and drive, and that's what the Grace intends to do. So on this context setting, I hand over to Mayank for the further events. Mayank, over to you. Thank you all for joining. Almost I see 900 plus people have joined over here. All the best. We will be connected with you all. Feel free to touch base with us through emails, phone calls, which we'll shortly share with you, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish sir, for a wonderful context setting. As rightly pointed out by you, all of us, including all our trainees, are at the cusp of campus to corporate transition, and hence there are a lot of curiosities to move from unknown to known. To address all your curiosities, we have our experts who have traveled the same path and will share their experiences with you over a panel discussion. I now invite Mr. Kashi, who heads the talent management and OD function for L&T Corporate HR, and he will be the moderator for our panel discussion today.
Good evening, everyone. My neighbors, many of them have children who have finished their engineering. And they always, once they finish engineering and they are ready to get into the jobs, we jokingly, many of us are engineers and all of us are engineers on this discussion too. Many of us jokingly call it the 9th semester. So the 8 semesters are over and then people get into the 9th semester. And in this transition from 8th to 9th semester, engineers come with a lot of questions. There are lots of questions and they ask my neighbors' children, they ask me these questions. I'm really happy that L&T and the young professional talent acquisition team of L&T has organized this program called Grace. They have named it aptly called Grace because Grace is all about getting ready for an awesome career in engineering. I'm very happy that they are organizing this program because in this program, the main objective is to clarify and answer some of these questions. What's going to be my career like in L&T? What's the type of training that I will be getting at L&T? What should I focus on in terms of my soft skills as I get into a professional career and a professional organization like L&T? I think many of these questions is what will be running in the minds of most of you. And I'm very happy that I have a very esteemed set of panelists in order to answer. These are panelists who have gone through this journey themselves. So they are people who can claim to say that, look, I have done it all and seen it all, and therefore I can share with you some wisdom. That's the panel that I have with me, and I'm going to introduce the panel to all of you. First of all, a little introduction of me. I'm Kashi. I take care of the management development and OD within corporate learning and development team, part of corporate HR at Larsen & Toubro. And on the panel, on the tile, which is at the bottom left, I have Venkata Subramanian Ramakrishnan, the long name, but we will call him Venkat. Venkat is our expert on cyber security with 2 decades of experience Specifically, he provides cutting edge technology in this space, cybersecurity analytics, to various customers. And currently he is engaged with the Smart World and Communications IC, and to those customers he provides these solutions. So that's Venkat for you. Venkat, raise your hand please so that people know who it is, just in case. That's Venkat. Okay. Just above Venkat in the tile, we have with us Kaustubh. Kaustubh is a good friend. We worked in the past together. Kaustubh is our torpedo man, just like you have Abdul Kalam is the rocket man. So Kaustubh is the torpedo man. He is working with the Defense IC, and he has worked 8 years in the US before coming to India. And of these, 8 years, he has, 7 US patents, 2 Canadian patents, 1 European patent. So that's a hell of a lot of patents which he has. He's on the advisory board of Father Egnell College. So he tries to keep in touch with young engineers like you in this route. So that is Kaustubh. He's also on the research council of CSIR, the National Center for Oceanography at Goa. So that is Kaustubh for you. Just to the right of Kaustubh, on the extreme right, tile, we have Harshita Kumar. Harshita, just like Kaustubh is our, you can say, torpedo man, Harshita is our renewable energies person, renewables energy expert. She leads the global engineering team for renewable energy. And before she moved there, she was into the strategy area where she's worked with consultants like Bain, McKinsey, etc. So she's done a lot of work there. She's an engineer as well as a postgraduate in business administration, engineering from MTech from IIT Chennai. And it's important I'm mentioning this because Harshita is part of what was called, or what is called, the Build India Scholarship, which she will cover a little later in this discussion, which is there. So Harshita, welcome to the panel. The man below that is Hari Krishnan Hari. Hari is, is a GET 15 years back, but the GET blood is still in him. And, you can see him as enthusiastic as all you guys who are going to join us. So Hari Krishnan has done many assignments, right from being an executive assistant of Mr. Sharma, who is the head of LTHE. He's also handled various customers in the Middle Eastern sector. And currently, he is the project manager for the Marian package of Saudi Aramco, which is a very prestigious assignment, which he is currently handling. So he's from our hydrocarbon business. So a wonderful panel that I have, different people who bring in different perspectives, but whose main objective on this discussion is going to be to see how they can help support and answer many of your unanswered questions. So they all come with that common objectives over here. I will just play, I'll just quickly share a desktop and a small PPT, just what we have created so that all of you are there. I call this as engineer in progress and engineer in progress. So we do not want anybody to disturb us in this discussion. This is the way we will conduct the session. So what we did is the panelists and the participants, we asked all the potential joiners to us certain questions on a tool called Mentimeter, and they all gave their responses. And I'm going to share with you those responses. And around those responses, I'm going to have questions which I will specifically direct to each one of you, and then we can have this discussion as we go. I just saw this. I just thought I'll share some of this. In engineering college, you don't learn engineering, but they teach you how to deal with the world. And in L&T, we will make you deal with this world a little better. We'll make you deal with this world a little better. And that's why we have these 4 experts with us. So let's start with the first question. And the first question that we had posed. So a definition of engineer is one who gets excited about things that nobody else cares about. That's a definition of engineer. And with that definition, we had asked this question to all the engineers on this call. As an engineer, I want to. And almost a majority of them said they like to solve problems faced by end customers. Some of them said that they like to keep themselves abreast with latest technology. and a very minority of them said they would like to apply the learnings of 8 semesters in the practical environment. But since all the numbers are fairly large, I'm sure that all the people on this call are looking at all these three. And in order to discuss this topic, I would like to call upon Hari, because Hari, you are very close to customers. Day in and day out, you're dealing with customers. You are, dealing with international customers that too, and you're there to solve problems for them. So let me ask you, Hari, your journey, which has been there. How has your journey been? How has your journey as an engineer been, where you have solved problems for customers? You could let it know from a general engineer perspective, and then how in L&T specifically this thing happened. How did you solve problems? How did you keep yourself abreast with technology? How did L&T help you in some of that? Over to you, Hari, before we take the others. And the others can add on once Hari is put his points across. Please do think about this question as Hari answers them. Hari, over to you.
Good morning, sir, and good morning to all of my esteemed colleagues. Very interesting question, and thanks for the very kind introduction as well. So my name is Hari, and as sir mentioned, I'm from the 2004 GT batch. So almost 17 years running in L&T now. I was an alum of NIT Calicut, and I still vividly recall, especially my final year, amidst all the academics and the final year festivities, there was a serious business of trying to figure out what to do with the rest of your life. Many of my friends and batchmates from that time, of course, branched out into software, some into financial services, minority into core industry, while others pursued higher studies, like Harshita did in India or abroad. Some even went into civil service or military. For me personally, I was a very task and goal-oriented kind of guy. I used to get my kick out of working in large groups and trying to deliver complex tasks. I had a decent academic record, but my key highlight during engineering is on how to deal with the world. It's a very apt saying. It was when I was deeply involved in conducting tech fests and cultural fests and other things in college. So, and building big things was in my blood. My grandfather used to build dams back in his day. So L&T, and in particular the project business of L&T, kind of fit me like a glove. And what is the project business? Ultimately, the project business is about solving your end customers' problems within a specified time frame and a specified budget. And because as a contractor, you are taking up so much risk, it's an action-packed industry. There's never a dull day. Things keep changing. There are a lot of balls in the air. My favorite saying is that being a project manager is like, juggling, like a juggler with 4 or 5 balls in the air at any given point of time. And you can't afford to drop any of them if you want to deliver a successful project. And in the midst of all this, your customers also tend to be very demanding. So I'm in the hydrocarbon space. L&T does projects all through the infrastructure spectrum. And in hydrocarbon space, my customers are oil companies like Aramco, ADNOC, or in India like ONGC or IOCL. They are all big Fortune 500 types, and they are paying you top dollar to manage their problems, to manage their risk, most importantly, and to ensure their plants and facilities are built on time. And they're very demanding, and the way what you learn in this business is most of it is about managing people, managing your emotions, while at the same time trying to link that with the technical background that you have from engineering. And the main thing about what you transfer here is you learn to think about things in a systematic way, whether you know it or not, unknowingly or knowingly. During those 4 years in college, you figure out how to attack problems in a systematic manner. And that, coupled with the enthusiasm to build big things and do things that are important, is what L&T gives you the opportunity to do. I mean, what we do matters. What we do matters for this country in particular, and for our regional neighborhood. Another thing I wanted to bring up is that in L&T, responsibilities and opportunities gets thrown at you, and it is up to you to jump up and grab it. I was a site rep in 3 years. I was a lead engineer in 5 years. Nobody came and told me, okay, now you become the lead engineer. There was an opportunity, you put your hand up and you go for it. And the environment within L&T, being a professionally managed company and with a lot of bosses who have grown up in this ethos, is that you get the time to learn, make some mistakes. And as long as you correct it and you learn from it and you showing that you are learning from it, you will get more opportunity to make a name for yourself, to prove yourself and continue to grow. One question I get thrown at me, like, oh, you are a contractor, you're in the construction business. It's a very traditional business. It's not tech savvy. Yes, I accept it's a traditional business with its own mores, but the world is changing and we are changing with it. As I'm sure Harshita will touch upon later, we are moving because of climate change and other concerns. We are moving into a green economy, and L&T and LTHE is also actively pursuing, branching out into new things like renewables, hydrogen fuel, and these are all very exciting, very cutting edge stuff. I mean, basically the organization is thinking of running it as startups being incubated within the group and making them unicorns in their own right. And all of this, of course, is underpinned by a what you call Industrial Revolution 4.0, the digital, the digitalization movement, which is running all through. So the way, it's not Google and it will never be a Google. I think we can all agree on that. But it is a very exciting place to be in. And I think any of you or many of you who will join this organization will find it to be a very exciting journey ahead. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Hari. I think that shows, how the 17 odd years after your GET has actually gone in. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Hari. Any inputs, any comments, anybody else would like to add to this in the context of what the GETs have responded to that question? Anybody wants to add any points with respect to technical knowledge, technical, understanding technical stuff, as well as reaching out to customers, solving their problems? Anything you have a point? I think Hari covered it fairly elaborately, but if anybody has a comment, we can take that.
I'll make a point here. See, I think for GETs primarily coming from the colleges, I think this is a great place to look at for two reasons. One is the digital transformation journey that every industry is going through, be it hydrocarbon, power and distributions. I think there is a lot of work can be utilized in the way they learned in colleges, both in the software world. I think people should not think that we are looking at more of cement and brick here. I think a lot of changes are happening in the code. If you look at a data center where you all the hardware and software, 90% has become a software nowadays, not much on the hardware. Similarly, on the traditional engineering space, be it in construction industry, be it in hydrocarbon industry, what is happening is there is a lot of sensors being put in place to transform their operations more from productivity and efficiency, also help them to enhance their engineering capabilities. I think I just want to ask them to explore this space, not thinking just engineering as engineering. I think you can bring your machine learning capability, software development capability in the engineering work. That is going to transform your journey as well as L&T journey on a long term.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you. I think let's go to the next area, and then we will explore a lot more questions, doubts that these engineers have. So we went and asked, and you see this lovely picture of all the monuments and all the, you can say all the creations of L&T which stand today. And as a citizen of this country, when we look at it, we are so proud of it. So the question that we asked is what I expect to get from my career at L&T. Pride in nation building, training and skill enhancement or monetary benefit? Panelists, I think they know L&T very well, so monetary benefit definitely is not there in their answers, but training and skill enhancement and pride in nation, both of these are what they have answered predominantly. The training and skill enhancement, L&T, in fact, at some point was known as learning and training. So training and skill enhancement is the highest, that's what they expect. Of course, pride in nation building, we are always known as, builders to the nation. We are always known as that. So pride in nation building is the next. So this question I'm going to direct to you, Kaustubh. This is to you. You have actually worked abroad. You have come back, and now you are in India. You're working with the defense IC, which is very, very probably the next best career after the army, as they say. And that's the area that you're working. Pride is naturally there in every person who works there. So, Kaustubh, what is your take on this? Both from on both the responses that they have given. What is your take on learning as well as pride?
Sure, Kasi. First of all, thank you for inviting me along with my fellow panelists. I would like to start off by just saying that, see, L&T is all about nation building, right? Whether you are working on a bridge, a submarine, a refinery, a water treatment plant, doesn't matter what the product is, but you basically get a chance to make a positive contribution to the development of your country. So basically a chance to give back. Secondly, the empowerment which is prevalent even at the junior most levels, which Hari touched upon, allows people to take on responsibility at a very young age. So you have to counter a lot of challenges, and when you do that, you emerge stronger. And that's when you develop a sense of pride in what you have achieved. Now, specifically speaking about skill development and learning, there's tremendous opportunity in L&T, and like Kasi said, we were known as learning and training. So I'll just give you an example. Like he mentioned, I was in the US for close to a decade, where I was working in a completely different field, which is biotechnology, right? And it was a very satisfying stint there. But when I came back to India and got an opportunity to work with L&T, they gave me a chance to work in defense. Now, this is a completely different field, right? So you can imagine the kind of relearning that you have to go through. And so a lot of training, it had to be on the job, coming in for a completely different field. But L&T made it possible, And right from day one, I was put in charge of a design team which was developing a weapon system for one of our underwater platforms. So a lot of this learning actually happened on the job. So we had to visit naval establishments, we had to interact with the crew, we had to understand their requirements and then get into design. Okay, so learning is not only what you learn in the classroom or in a structured training program, but you actually learn it when you interact with people, you interact with your customer, you understand a lot of things which will help you in your work. And I can still remember that first meeting when I was presenting our design to the customer in Delhi. About 15 people in white Navy uniform seated around the table. It was my first meeting like that. And I was explaining the concept to them. It felt like a dream, just like they show in the movies. And the best part is when your product is ready, you get a chance to test it in the field. So again, a lot of learning happens there because nothing compares to the experience when you're out in the field and watching your design turn to reality. Right? Now, if you talk about structured training programs, L&T gives you a lot of opportunity to learn in both the technical as well as the leadership domain. So in the technical domain, to give you some examples, we have a arrangement with Indian Institute of Technology, where you can pursue an MTech in your chosen field. Then specifically for defense, we have an arrangement with the Defense Institute of Armament Technology in Pune, where again you can pursue an MTech in a very specialized field, like if you want to do sensors or if you want to do radars or whatever. So you can do that. Then in terms of leadership development, we have a 7-step, very effective and innovative 7-step leadership development program, where it actually grooms you to be a future leader. And a lot of our board members have gone through this structured program. And then I think we have a very good program with Symbiosis Institute, where you can even do a PhD in management. So a lot of opportunities. And I think there's no limit to how much you can learn and how much you can grow in terms of your engineering and leadership capabilities in L&T. So yeah, I think the opportunities are unmatched and endless.
Thank you, Kaustubh. I think that's very crisply put over there. Just taking a little continuation and a thing from there, I would like to ask Harshita, because she's also done one of these programs, which is Build India Scholarship. So Harshita, would you like to share something around your experiences around that in continuation with what Kaustubh said?
Yeah, sure. Ashish, thank you. And as Kaustubh said, thank you very much for inviting me to this session and being part of this esteemed panel. So Build India Scholarship is one of the flagship programs from L&T Construction, wherein they take GETs who have just passed out, maybe who are in the 4th year. They select them through a rigorous interview and test process, and they select selected few are selected to get into MTech program in construction technology and management. Earlier, when 2002, when I got selected, it was mainly in IITs, that is IIT Madras and IIT Delhi. Totally 40 students were selected. And it's not only for the fresh GETs, very few seats are also allocated to the GETs who have completed 2 years within the organization. So even the GETs who are joining directly to L&T, they also get this opportunity to do an MTech after 2 years of completion within the organization. So this group of people are trained in construction technology and management, where the technology part can be civil, mechanical, or electrical. But definitely the management is focused on project management and business management per se. So again, giving the idea that, as few of the panelists have mentioned earlier, it's not only the technical skills, but also how you manage, whether it is the management of project, the business, or the team, which will play a very important role. So this program is very well tuned to train you in both aspects, including certain HR philosophies of emotional intelligence, managing self better, etc. So it was a very good, I would say, it was a very good platform for me to learn all the basics which are required when I stepped into L&T, and of how to manage a project or how to manage a team. Everything was getting trained there. And after the first year in the college, you also will get an assignment of internship or like a training program in various construction sites. So I was fortunate to get trained in the largest nuclear power plant construction at that time, which was happening in Tarapur in Maharashtra. So as I was the only lady there in the construction site. This was way back in 2001, almost 20 years back. So, but I was very fortunate as a fresh GET out of college and maybe 1 year down the line to sit inside the Calendria vault. The Calendria vault is a vessel in which the nuclear fission happens. So since it was the work in progress and the construction was going on, I was fortunate to see that and see how massive and what kind of technologies and what kind of construction methodologies are used in a construction site, the processes which are followed, whether it is quality, safety, the project management, planning, etc. So all these are well trained in this program, and you are well equipped when you come to the organization, and you can start delivering by the first day itself. So that is the biggest advantage. You don't have to get trained after you join the organization, because already you are trained and you start delivering to the organization from the first day itself. So I will definitely recommend all the GETs who are watching this program to do apply after 2 years in the organization and do try to enhance your knowledge through this wonderful. Thank you, Kashif.
Like to comment on this? Otherwise, we are ready to go to the next question. I think we've, it is well known that L&T is a learning and training plus the organization which creates the pride. So let's go to the next one, and I think we have a very interesting question next. It's not a question that we posed to the GETs, but it's a question around this. This visual. This visual actually is the transition from the campus to corporate. People call it campus to corporate. People call it the 8th semester onwards transition. People call it by various names, but it is a known fact that this transition is important. And I have always seen. I have a son who's he's not an engineer. He's not wanting to be an engineer, but he's from the generation that this audience group belongs to. I mean, they share everything that is there. Facebook is all meant for sharing everything. There is nothing private about it. There is nothing, and they keep sharing everything. In this professional world, I think discretion is important. And I think our cyber security person will be, expert will be, getting sleepless nights, especially with the GETs sharing some very, very sensitive information. Say if someone leaks information on the defense area or something like that. So it's a very sensitive area. And I thought no best person than Venkat to share this as to when they transition into a professional environment, what should they keep in mind? And, what are the things that they need to keep in mind? They need to leave away certain habits behind, and they need to develop certain new habits. Venkat, what's your view on this?
Thank you, Kashi. I think, as you said, right, cybersecurity is nothing but common sense and habit. I think it is not as complex as you were talking about. So I would take it to two sides. One is on the personal front, because what I believe is that if your habit changes personally, I think you can bring it to the corporate world. And to see, I know all the young generations depend completely on mobile phone. And I think most of them would be doing all the transactions through mobile phone. It'd be a chat, or it would be video call, or it could be slowly they will get into the payment through mobile phone. This is where I think they need to be very clear. And if they think that mobile phone is highly sensitive and critical for their day-to-day life, they have to start from there. And couple of tips that I would give, generally I give to everyone, is one is we pay 40,000-50,000 rupees for a phone, or maybe 20,000 rupees for a phone, but we want everything free. Nothing is free in this world. And when you try to download for free, something is you are losing, as simple as it. If you're trying to download a particular app, you are giving away some personal information about you. It could be your location details, it could be your personal information, or it could be anything else. So I think nothing is free, one. Second is, how do I protect my phone to start with? Because if I keep my phone secure to a certain extent, then I can bring that habit to the corporate world. I think a couple of suggestions that I would do is, first is pay some money, maybe 1,000 rupees or 1,500 rupees per year to protect your phone. I think if you are paying 20,000 rupees, additional 1,500 rupees, 2,000 rupees should not be a big deal to protect your phone from these aspects. One is the antivirus. I would suggest that, because we don't know what application that we are downloading. A lot of apps we keep downloading. Let's say you go to Swiggy, Swiggy will force you to download something. If you go to Zomato, Zomato force you to download. So we end up, I think in a phone, if I look at it, on average, close to 24 to 25 apps would be there for mobile phone. I think that is how the world is moving. To protect yourself that these apps are secure, not malicious, my only suggestion is that don't go with the free antivirus available in any of these app stores. Pay 1,500 rupees, buy some good one. I'll give one example that I use personally is Lookout. I think if anybody want to use that, Lookout is very good. I think Lookout is one of the best antivirus product that available in the market. It is not just an antivirus product. It also scans all the apps regularly, whether you have malicious content in there. So that is the first thing. Second is whether you are getting into the corporate world or a personal world, I think we have to look at the default passwords that we've been using across the board. Take an example of if you are at home, if you have a broadband connection, I think broadband connections provided by Reliance or Airtel or anyone comes with the username and password, and then leave it to the system as is. My only suggestion is that try to change the password there, because in a corporate world, you would be forced to change the password once in 90 days. But in the personal life, I've rarely seen people changing the password for a broadband access, because that is one of the critical entry point. The reason why I'm saying is that the world is moving into a smart world. All the personal stuff is connected to internet. Let's say if you have a TV, you will have a Fire Stick or your smart TV connected to the internet. You may have Alexa at home. You may have many devices. It is going to get smart, including fan, refrigerators. All these are taking the data through your broadband connections to the internet. I think my only suggestion is that ensure that your entry point, your home, okay, like in a corporate world, the way we protect through simple firewall, other stuff, change the password first so that your entry point is more or less secure so that nobody can get into your entry point. The third is that is actually, it's also good for your mobile phone, everything. The third is every phone provides, every app, every Android or iOS provides some kind of privacy settings. And I think it requires a little bit of time to go through those settings and make changes. But the only downside to that is that whenever we upgrade the version, let's say if Android releases a version 1 now and then 3 months down the line, if they release a version 2, all the settings go for task. The challenge that we all have is that we have to go back and redo that. Okay, I think these are the simple stuff that I would recommend to start with. The fourth and last one is that on average, I think we all end up having close to 25 user IDs, email IDs, maybe 3-4 email IDs and multiple passwords. I'm sure I think we all would be having a password for bank account, we all have a password for maybe Amazon or could be LinkedIn, whatever it is. But invariably, I've seen the pattern of keeping the password more or less similar, except few characters here and there changing, because as a human being, we can't remember more than 3-4 passwords at any point of time. So that is where I would recommend to use some kind of a password manager tools. And for that, you may end up paying, as some are available free. What it does is it generates a highly random password for you. And then you can use the password to wherever you are. I think that is the fourth thing that I would recommend personally, so that your password is not easily guessable. And then, because even if you do a complex password, what happens is we end up changing the last few characters here and there to make it easy for us to remember. And no matter what we try, putting a phrase and everything, but it is highly impossible to live in this world not repeating the password in many places. I would rather suggest couple of password manager tools to use it. That's the fourth thing. The last and fifth is the coming back to the corporate world. Now that you have, now that you know the basic stuff that how you want to protect yourself personally, coming to the corporate world, if you follow the same process in a corporate world, you're more or less in a good shape. The couple of other areas that I would recommend is that as a convenience, right, we actually miss the security by sending certain documents to a personal email ID because you want to work from somewhere, you want to take a look at it. But I think you should avoid those sensitive documents to going out, because the document that you send, let's say you a Gmail or it could be any email ID, nothing is secure. They may call this email is encrypted, but once it goes to the Google Drive or Google storage, anybody can see within the Google systems. So my only suggestion is that follow the guidelines issued by L&T as an acceptable use policy. Ensure that you follow the social media guidelines, and I think this what you do is you protect your personal life from a privacy to a larger extent, and then security of your life, but also protect the organization like L&T from a reputation damage perspective. I think if you can follow these simple stuff, it is not a complicated, I would say it's a common sense, it's not a big deal. It is not a highly technical, I would say. Leave the technical to cybersecurity team or team to manage it, but as a person, I think if you can think through that personally, because I personally feel that the world is moving, and I don't think we can buy a TV in the next 5 years without a smart TV. I don't think TV will be sold out without a smart. So obviously you are connected to the internet, and your role is actually we are living in a what you call digital diarrhea, I would say. We are throwing up a lot of data to Facebook, Instagram, and we are doing everything. Very difficult. I've been to many shops where you can't buy anything without your mobile phone or email ID. They'll ask you a mobile phone. So here, what I do personally is I have 2 numbers. Okay, this is my advice. I have 2 numbers. Whatever the sensitive transaction that I do for bank or any other bank transaction, I will keep a separate mobile phone, not a smartphone. Because all I need is OTP to access certain things. But any non-banking transaction, I do a common mobile phone, because that can be given to anybody, because I know I can track that. So I think these are the stuff which is not highly complex for you to follow. These are the simple advice I would recommend everybody to follow here.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I'm sure these participants will be really benefited coming from a cyber guru like you, cyber security guru. Kaustubh, you work in a defense environment. I'm sure that you will have several such challenges as well as certain restrictions you would have placed on your people who work. What is your view, Kaustubh, on this?
So Venkat covered very nicely the technical aspects of information security. I would just like to add a couple other points which are more related to the human aspects. So all our GETs, PGTs have been used to using Facebook every day, right? Whatever happens in their life, it's on Facebook. But the moment you enter into a corporate world, you have to remember that whatever you're working on is intellectual property owned by the company. So you have to make sure that nothing related to your project goes on Facebook, because that's a big security breach and your competitors are watching, right? And second thing is, when you're speaking to people within the company too, if they are not connected with your project, you want to make sure that that information is not divulged. It's not like if you work within L&T, everybody is privy to all information. Depending on your projects, and your project manager would tell you that this is the team which has to know certain aspects. You want to make sure that never gets breached. So that's an important human aspect which you have to remember, which you may not be familiar with while you're in college.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Hari, any experiences you have? Harshita, any experiences you want to share on this?
Well, sir, one. I think Venkat and Kaustubh touched upon everything. I just like to bring in one point, especially with related to the graphic you showed about the transition from campus to corporate, and especially with the current bunch that is going to come through. And I keenly recognize that they're a generation by themselves, very separate from us, even from my generation. One thing I see is that many of the new joinees, they are used to instant gratification. I mean, you are hungry, you order on Zomato, the delivery is there in half an hour. You want to buy something, you buy on Amazon and the product gets delivered to you. There's no thing about doing research, going to 5 shops, seeing what the best prices are, what the best offer is, and then buy. That entire thing is gone. So they're all used, and you want to watch something, it's not like you have to wait. You book a ticket, you go to the theater and watch, you bring it up on Netflix and you watch it instantly. And that kind of instant gratification was not there when, at least when we were all growing up and coming through. And one point I want to highlight to all the young guys out there is that in L&T and in wider professional life, instant gratification may not happen. It will not happen. It takes time, it takes grit, it takes some blood and sweat. So you should be very conscious of that, and that it will take time. The opportunities are there, the growth will come, but the effort and the time has to go in.
Sure, thank you very much. Thank you, Hari.
Yeah,
thanks.
Maybe just one point I would like to add. I fully agree with all the panelists what they have told till now, and one more point which I would like to add is, as you enter the organization, I feel the first 5 years, this is further to what Hari had mentioned. First 5 years, we should focus on learning and enhancing your skill and contributing back to the company. So generally, maybe feeling, as Hari said, of instant gratification that we will come and start getting instant recognition or instant promotions, etc. Instead of that, I feel each of the young GTs should have a goal for as much as possible enhancing their skills in the first 5 years, and parallelly contributing, and then looking after 5 years for further growth and maybe achieving whatever they want. So that's one tip from my side as well.
Wonderful, a variety. We started from cyber security and reached gratification. Super. I think that's the breadth of information that we have at L&T. Okay, so I'm going to ask, I know we asked another question to the GTs, and this is the last of the question that we had asked. And in order to introduce this question, I have this small fun fact. The University of Kentucky awarded the first mechanical engineering degree in the world to a woman in 1916. Her name was Margaret Ingalls. This is a fun fact, but revolving around this fun fact is the question that we asked this team. We asked this team revolving around this fun fact, what is their impression of L&T, and specifically around the gender related aspects is what we wanted to bring out here. And we wanted to know what's the impression about L&T, and a majority of them said L&T is an equal opportunity organization and capability is what matters. That's what majority of them said. But there were a few, and about 39 of them who said that maybe lady engineers mainly work on desk jobs. There are very few women in leadership positions. Probably there were a few in this batch who responded so. And whether it's a reality or whether it's a myth or an external impression, I'm not the right person. I would like Harshita to probably, is probably the best person to clarify this question as to what is this? What is the real thing? Harshita, you can tell us from your own experience the way you look at L&T. Over to you, Harshita.
Yeah, thank you, Kashi again. So the world is changing. Women are becoming, as you presented in 1916, it's the first mechanical engineering. So I can explain what happened to me 20 years back when I joined L&T. So I used to be one among, or the only lady in many of the groups. So when I did my MTech from IIT Madras, even after combining the students from both Delhi as well as Madras, out of 40 students, I was the only lady. So when I went to the construction side, I was the only lady. At that point of time, that is 20 years back, there never used to be a ladies' toilet in the site because it was not anticipated that ladies can work inside, or you can have even female labor force as well. So things have changed drastically over the past 20 years. We are seeing more and more ladies coming into construction sites, taking up challenging roles. We have project directors who have taken up, women project directors who have taken up very big jobs, who are responsible from the start to end for the execution. We have ladies in manufacturing units who are maybe the factory in charges, taking up the challenge of highly male-dominated or perceived male-dominated areas, whether it is construction or manufacturing. I can also explain from my personal experience. So after doing my MTech, I joined Power Transmission and Distribution. I got an opportunity for, and within the first year, I got selected for the management training scheme, which is again a flagship program within L&T. Why I'm trying to say is that I have been given equal opportunity like a male colleague. I have been given the same programs to attend and to get selected. So based on the merit, you get selected. So I have been selected as few among that. And then I had got the exposure of working in various areas in the first 4 years, whether it is tendering, projects, operational improvement initiatives, etc. So that opportunity has been given by me within the company. And I felt I wanted to do an MBA degree because I felt that as we grow, business or management of people and business becomes more and more critical. Knowledge of business becomes more critical. So I requested for a sabbatical, and I took a sabbatical for 2 years, and I did my MBA from SPJ in Bombay. So even that opportunity L&T had given, which is quite rare. And after that, I joined back in L&T corporate strategy. I could go through the how corporate things, how organization restructuring is thought about, how from policies are set from the corporate level. And after the 2 years, as Hari was mentioning, the bug of new technologies, the bug of contributing to the environment kicked in, and I wanted to work in renewables. So I joined in renewables business in 2012, almost now 9 years here. And in this also, the company had given me so many opportunities, whether it is, as somebody in the panel, I think Hari was mentioning, the intrapreneurship opportunities. So company had given me the opportunity to build a business from scratch. It was the microgrid and battery energy storage system business, which I developed the whole team, including the technology, including the operations of the project, including the P&L responsibility. So I was given the full profit and loss responsibility, again considered or perceived as a male-dominated area. So I had to travel extensively for business development. Almost 5 days in a week, I used to be in planes only, before the Corona times, obviously, not now. So I used to travel extensively. I have been at sites, construction sites, like in Andaman, we have done a solar plus storage project, which is one of the kind in India. Similarly, in Punjab, we did a largest rooftop project, solar rooftop project, again one of the kind in India. So I got the opportunity to contribute to the country. Few of the questions which we asked, the earlier questions asked, contribute to the country as well as solve the problems of the customer and being well appreciated by the customer in return for the services which we have been providing. I had an opportunity to travel across the world to meet various vendors, customers, etc. So opportunities are many. It is up to us whether we have to grab it or not, irrespective of the gender. So I will definitely agree to the majority answer which has been given, that it is a gender neutral organization and it is based on meritocracy. And it is up to you with your strength of technical knowledge, business acumen, as well as very important, how you manage people, how you deal with people, how you network, how you communicate with them, and then forge ahead. So these all aspects will be based on that. Only you will be given more opportunities and how to shine within the company. And just last, I would like to say the quote which our MD and CEO, Mr. S.N. Subramaniam, had specifically told during the Women's Day. So it is coincidence that we are talking in the month of March, where Women's Day also falls in. So he had mentioned that the Ayn Rand famous quote, the question should not be who is going to let you, but who is going to stop you, try and stop you. So I urge all the women candidates in this group to remember this. It is up to you how you are going to grab the opportunity. Nobody is going to stop you. It is up to you to decide whether you want to or not. Thank you very much, Kashi.
Thank you. That was really encouraging, and that really put and reiterated our whole philosophy of looking at capability and looking at meritocracy within the organization. Really appreciate that. Men as allies is a topic we have spoken. I think Kaustubh, Hari, Venkat, you may be having women in your team. What's been the general outlook? You guys support them so that this group that's going to come in also feels that?
So Kashi, just to give you an example, in the design team that we have, about I would say 10% designers are women, and they are designing complex weapon systems and equally as good as their men counterparts. So definitely we don't see any difference, and all the opportunities are available to them.
Yeah, and for my project, Marjan Package 2 for Aramco, it's a $1 billion oil and gas oil field development job. My lead piping engineer is a woman. My lead instrumentation engineer is a woman. Some of my senior structural people are women. And I echo what Harshita said. When I started off in 2004, I started off in Hazira in the yard in construction. There are hardly any women around. I mean, other than in the office, maybe in HR and finance. That has undergone a sea change in the last decade and a half for sure. And one encouraging thing is every year the GET intake which is coming through, there are more and more girls are there. I think that's a very conscious policy by L&T, and it's the right way to go. And you know what? In the last 2-3 years, the intakes, I found that the girls to be smarter, to be very honest. And I see greater potential in them. I mean,
I think out of all three, I think I'm lucky because cybersecurity is not a little tricky compared to other construction type project where the women leaders can come in. I think in India, I've seen a lot of cybersecurity professionals from girls and women's side. They've taken it bigly, and in fact, we have a separate forum for women leadership in cybersecurity. I think around 40 leaders across India as participating on a regular basis for once in 3 months to discuss about challenges they go through from cybersecurity part of. I'm one of the members participating in those conversations. I think typical cybersecurity, I think maybe 5-6 years was actually less than 10% of total population. Now I think it is slowly increasing. I think it's going to 20-25%. This space actually is good for women, in my view. Cybersecurity, as well as typical to a software industry. The cybersecurity industry, I think there's no challenge in my view because they can work from anywhere.
Wonderful. I think that's great comments. I think we are coming to an end of our allotted time, and I think we had some wonderful topics, wonderful discussions, very good insights which were spoken, some very inspirational points were brought out. As we come to the end of this discussion, I just want one message from each one of you to the GTs who are joining us. One message, from each one. Maybe Venkat, you can start, and then we move just like the way we move. So Venkat, one message.
I think I'll reiterate that all the panel members mentioned is don't stop learning, learn every day, because things changing drastically. It's not as 20 years back. Things are changing very fast. Keep learning, otherwise you are out of touch. I think keep learning. I think don't stop learning. Think like your corporate world, like your college world. Keep learning. I think that's the only message that I would pass on here.
Cost of yours, please.
Sure. So one message I would like to give to all the youngsters out there is don't stop dreaming. This is the place where your dreams will come true. So don't be shy of dreaming. Dream big. Good luck.
Wonderful, wonderful. And just to show that we are an equal opportunity organization, ladies will not be first. Hari, it will be you now. And then we go last to Harshita.
Yeah, I think L&T is a place where you can think big and you can go for it. There is no dearth of opportunity, and you can have a very exciting road ahead of you.
Super. Okay. Harshita, your last word on this.
Yeah, I would say that be passionate on whatever you do. The passion is the key. So have patience as well. It takes time for anything to fructify. So have passion and patience. This is what my key message is.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, all you panelists. I just want to leave a small gift to all of you. This is what all of the engineers who are going to join us. This is what they have said that L&T is known on their campus as. And whatever L&T is known on campus, it's all because of hard work put in by people like you. So the best gift that you can get is possibly this one from the campus guys. Here it goes, a small gift to you from all the campus guys. I just play this here. This is what L&T is known on their campuses for. And many, many points over there coming, the highlighted ones like being nation builders, professionalism, work culture, innovation, Statue of Unity has also come out. Many, many such points have come out. Thank you very much, panelists. Thank you very much for the wonderful insights that you have given. With all your wishes, with all your support, I'm sure the GTs who come in will have a wonderful time ahead. Thank you very much. Have a safe and good day to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kashi sir, and all our panelists for such an insightful discussion. Now we'll be moving to the most awaited part of this event. What is GRACE and what we have in store for you. So as our part of this initiative, we have meticulously planned activities to help and support you in this transition. I will just share with you what is the way ahead. L&T GRACE, get ready for an awesome career in engineering. So what is in it for me? Essentially, starting from next week onwards, for the next course of 10 weeks, we will have content shared with you in 4 themes. The first theme will be L&T overview, wherein the content shared with you will have L&T heritage, a different overview of L&T businesses, and our journey to excellence. The second theme of content will have information related to the iconic projects that have been done by L&T and the record-breaking achievements that come along with these projects. The third theme will be L&T in news. So what you will have to do is stay updated, follow all the L&T press releases, and follow us on LinkedIn, our Campus Engage page, and stay abreast with all the recent what is happening in L&T. And the final is with respect to the behavioral skills that we have planned. So content will be shared with you with respect to impactful communication courses, decision-making courses, achievement orientation, and few more will follow. And what is that we will have to do with respect to these content? The plan is that we are launching a micro-learning mobile application for all of you. We'll be shortly sending you onboarding emails wherein steps related to downloading that app and how to log in will be shared with you. That mobile application will help you increase your learning agility and speed. Once you download the app and log in, content with respect to these themes will be shared with you. You will have to go through that content, and then we will have quizzing that will be conducted for next 10 weeks. What will essentially happen is every morning you will get 8 new questions in the form of those notifications. These questions will be related to the content that will be shared. So essentially what you have to do as a user is go through that content, answer the questions that you receive every morning. And when you answer every question, you will be asked, how confident are you about your answer? Choose one of those 3 options, which is unsure, somewhat sure, and very sure. And when you answer those questions, we will have monthly leaderboards and a big leaderboard, a consolidated leaderboard, wherein we'll be rewarding our top 10 quizzing wizards. So this is the way ahead, what you have to do. We'll keep on sharing content with you, go through that content, answer quizzes, and earn your rewards. And now when you're answering the questions, you are eager to know that how will the points calculation work. So first thing is, for every question that you attempt, you will get 5 points if you attempt that question in first 24 hours. If you attempt that question in next 24 hours, you get just 3 points. And in next course of 48 hours to 72 hours, you get just 1 point for attempting that question. So we are giving you points for attempting that question, whether you answer it correctly or incorrectly. The person or the user to attempt that question quickly in first 24 hours will get 5 points. So for every question, you will get 2 attempts to answer that question. Attempt 2 will also help you score points in a similar fashion. And attempt 3 onwards, no points will be awarded for attempting the question. Now, when you answer a question, you master a question. So if you master a question in 2 attempts, additional 5 points is what you will get. If you master a question in 3 attempts, you get 3 points. And if you master a question in 4 or more attempts, you just get 1 point. So the gist is, as soon as the questions pop up on your mobile phone, be the first ones to attempt those questions and answer those questions correctly. Now, with respect to the quizzes, every quiz will have 12 questions. Once you master all the questions, you will master that quiz. And that quiz, once you master, you will get 30 bonus points with that quiz. We will have monthly leaderboards and then a final consolidated leaderboard for all our top 5 quizzes. So stay tuned. We'll be shortly sending out communication to your email IDs for installing the application and how to log in. Be the first one to attempt the questions and master those questions to feature on our monthly leaderboards. Thank you. I, on behalf of our entire campus recruitment team, thank all of you for joining this session. All the best for your future and stay connected. Take care and stay safe.